One of the most common questions we receive from customers is whether or not it is possible to use an Autocad drawing in Site Manager. I'm excited to say that it is indeed possible to use an Autocad drawing with the help of Google Sketchup Pro. The latest version of Google Sketchup Pro is a pay-for-use piece of software, but Google will allow you to download it and preview it for 8 hours of continuous use. Unfortunately, you're going to have to use Google Sketchup Pro because they have moved the CAD feature out of the free version. It is not necessary to have a copy of Autocad, but if you do happen to have one, you can simplify things by removing unused layers, setting the proper scale, and adjusting the origin in the event that the coordinate system of the drawing is very large. Google has a few guidelines for importing CAD drawings, which you can find on their website. I'm going to go ahead and highlight 3 of the most important suggestions. The first suggestion is to make a copy of the CAD drawing that you're going to be working with and work off of the copy rather than the original, because you will more than likely be making some changes. If you have trouble importing the CAD drawing, they suggest saving the file in an older CAD format and also trying to keep the size of the file under 15 megabytes. Lastly, Google SketchUp discards anything in the CAD drawing that has no 3D relevance. An example of this would be text, dimensions, hatching, or shading. You should try to remove these layers, but if you do not have a copy of AutoCAD, there's nothing to worry about because SketchUp has a few options that will allow us to remove some of those unnecessary layers. So let's go ahead and start by showing you how this is done. What you see on the screen is Google SketchUp Pro, and by default when you open it up, they always put this picture of a lady here, so we're going to select the selection tool, highlight her, and click the delete button. The next thing we would like to do is under Window, you have this option called Model Info. This allows you to set up some of the settings for the particular project that you're working on. First thing we want to do is go to Units. By default, it's set to architectural, but we want to set it to decimal. And we also want to change the units to meters since Ubisense uses the metric system. There's also an option for precision. You could probably set this to almost anything, but I'm going to use 3 units of precision. That's the only thing we have to do, so we're going to go ahead and close that out. Next, we're going to want to import our CAD drawing. So under File, there's an option for Import. You want to make sure that you select the AutoCAD feature down here, which is the .dwg or .dxf. And here's my example AutoCAD drawing. But before I import that, there are some options you can set. You want to make sure to click both box options under Geometry. This is just a suggestion from Google. And the other thing you can do is you can select the scale. If you happen to know what scale was used in the AutoCAD drawing, I would suggest selecting it here. If you don't know, simply choose meters since Ubisense uses a metric system. And if the scale is wrong, we can make changes to that quite easily inside of Google SketchUp, so don't worry about that too much. So I'm going to go ahead and select my file. Click Open. It's going to import the file. And what you'll notice here is it gives you a little bit of information, like we have 24 layers, 9 blocks, etc., etc. That's just for information purposes. Go ahead and close it out. Now you might say, where is this thing that I just imported? You want to click this tool here, which gives you, it zooms out the extents. And you can kind of see that there's a drawing there, but it's in a 3D view. So the next thing we're going to want to do is go to Camera, go to Standard Views, and choose Top, which will allow us to look down onto the model. So as you can see, we have this AutoCAD drawing. One of the neat things you can do with Google, first let's zoom in to a area of the drawing. I'm going to use this hand, which will allow me to drag the drawing. Now let's say that you happen to know the distance of this doorway. What you can do, zoom in a little bit more, is take a measurement using their tape measure tool. it'll snap to the endpoints, and it'll actually tell me down here in the lower corner that that's 2.54 meters. If you take a measurement and that doorway is actually 1.5 meters, you can just simply type 1.5 and hit enter, and it'll ask you, do you want to resize the model? If you say yes, it'll completely resize the model. We can't see it on the screen, so we'll have to zoom the extents again. And it completely scales your model to that measurement. This is a really nice feature, especially if you don't know the scale of the Autocad drawing, because with one click, you can completely scale your entire drawing. So now that we have the drawing in here, there's probably a lot of unnecessary layers that we really just don't want. It'll also make the file bigger when we convert it, so we want to get rid of those. So under Window, we have an option that says Layers. And what this does, it opens up and it'll show you all the AutoCAD layers that are in your drawing. And you'll notice this little arrow here. Actually, let me move this box over a little bit so you can see it better. It names the layers and their names and their colors. Then you have this little arrow here you can click. And it gives you an option that says called Purge. When you click this, it is going to get rid of all the layers that are unnecessary and that cannot be seen. I suggest using this. It'll greatly minimize your file and the amount of time it takes to convert the file. One other option that you may want to do, depending on how your file converts, you can move this around simply by, well, let me select it better, do a better job for you. Simply by selecting the entire floor plan, you can then use the move option, which is this button here, and you can move this around to any place that you like. So if your origin or your coordinates don't suit your needs, you can simply move this wherever you like. Once you're happy, we can actually go and do the conversion. So what you're going to do, you're going to take the plugin, and by default, minimize this, it needs to go in C Drive, Program Files, Google Sketchup 8 plugins. And then you see it right here, export walls.rb. When you open up Google, it will automatically install under your plugins. Simply click Export Walls, brings up a file menu. You can name it whatever you'd like. So let's just call it Walls. And it needs to be a DAT file in order to be opened in Site Manager. When it's finished, it gives you the OK. And now, I'm going to open up Site Manager and show you the final product. So now we'll go to the Areas tab, go to Walls, Load Walls, and we will select the file. And as you can see, you now have your floor plan and Site Manager.